Elden Ring is a game full of secrets, and while most of them have already been discovered in the years since the game released, my goal in this video is to show you some that you haven't seen. More specifically, the secrets and similarities between our world and Elden Ring's. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn and enjoy as we discuss these similarities. The first similarity is actually located all around the lands between. The churches of Marika are, after all, churches, a place of worship for the religion of Christianity in our world. Just like how the churches of Marika inside Elden Ring is a place of worship for the religion of the Golden Order. Further inside every single one of Marika's churches exists a massive statue of Marika. What's peculiar about these statues is the position it's in. It appears as if Marika is being tied from a cross. This is confirmed by the fact that when we find Marika in the centre of the Erdtree, she is being tied to said cross. The importance of this is found in the faith of Christianity, where the Son of God, Jesus Christ, is tied to a cross for the sins of humanity, which is sort of similar to Marika, considering she was tied to the runic cross for her sins, and possibly she committed said sins in part due to the actions of humanity. Going into even more speculation, in Christianity God has a child, Jesus, just like how Marika had many children of her own. And just like God's child, one of Marika's children, Morgoth, like Jesus, spread the faith of their parents, adding even more similarities. From the little bits of information we are told, the land of reeds is a land covered in blood, apparently in a bloody civil war, and seems to share a heavy resemblance to Sengoku Japan and Sekiro, also adding the same weapons as used in the Warring States period, from the iconic katana to longbows. In the myths and poems about Norse mythology, one thing has always catched my eye: the Yggdrasil, a giant ash tree that holds up the universe. You might be thinking, what has this got to do with Elden Ring? Well, let me tell you, it has everything to do with Elden Ring. The Erdtree in the current age controls and symbolises the cycle of life, death and rebirth in the lands between. Similarly, the Yggdrasil symbolises and controls the cycle of life, death and rebirth, while holding up the universe, which in a way perhaps the Erdtree is doing as well. Another heavy point in Norse mythology that Elden Ring might take after would be the fact that there are 9 realms. Now we know, as we discovered in our last video, the world beyond the lands between, there are other lands and other worlds outside and beyond the fog. Even beyond what lies beyond the fog, there's worlds other than that, like where the Numans came from. So maybe they might take inspiration from the 9 realms whole situation. And considering the Aesir, which I believe Marika's pantheon to be very heavily based off, there are other pantheons like the Vanir. So that is something to think about, and fingers crossed we'll get some kind of DLC there, because we do know that Marika originates from a different pantheon before she came to the lands between and created her own. Before we continue, I did just want to say that I have this really bad cold. It's not COVID, it's just the winter cold, but it's not winter sort of thing. I just thought I'd let you guys know in case I sound a bit bummed up and, well, sore throat, a bit scratchy. I just want to apologise. Going back to the discussion of the Yggdrasil and the Erdtree, the Yggdrasil is also a grey ash tree, and the fact of how many connections there is between the Yggdrasil and the Erdtree, maybe the Erdtree is too a great ash tree. I also just wanted to say that runes play a very heavy role in Norse mythology, and given the similar heavy role of runes in Elden Ring, it's fair to say that a lot of inspiration was taken from Norse mythology with the runes and all the stuff we just talked about. Another connection between our world is located in the geography of the lands between. Notice how the different lands on the map look as if they have been stitched and merged together. This has a resemblance to a place called Pangaea, a supercontinent from our world 335 million years ago, where the continents we know today slowly merged over millions of years. This also could explain why each section seems to have its own faiths and beliefs. I'm really excited for the next one because this is just so cool. If you look, Pangaea and the lands between look almost identical. People said it was the curled fingers from in-game, but look at it now. The lands between is definitely an Easter egg for Pangaea, and I'm so glad I was able to make this connection. This could mean so many things for Elden Ring's future. Perhaps, like I said in the last video, there might be some future DLC where even more lands from beyond the fog merge with the lands between, like Pangaea did 335 million years ago in our world. Also, if we go to the base sort of area that's located where Caelid and Limgrave meet, there seems to be a strange hole that seems to be coming out of it. Now, if you look at the map of Pangaea, this is also present on the map. Also notice where Stormvale is located. Stormvale is located at one of these merging points. Perhaps eons ago when Leonia and Limgrave merged, a reaction occurs. Like flint and steel, only fire was not created but a storm. A storm that is still present to this day and that has been raging for eons. And also notice how each land has a different colour palette on the map, adding even more evidence. Something else would be the animals and other living creatures inhabiting the lands between that are in fact native to Earth, like how around the lands between you find dogs, turtles, hawks, sheep and many others, some more mutated than others, but most are still the same as they currently are in our world, a cool detail that I think has been heavily overlooked. The Scarlet Rot is a mysterious illness inside of Elden Ring, originating from the Scarlet Rot outer god, currently sealed in the Lake of Rot. And while this illness does seem magical, which it certainly is, I'm not saying it isn't, like in The Last of Us, its infection is called the cordyceps, a real disease from our world. The thought popped into my head as I was watching my brother play The Last of Us, because it'd been a while since I played it. What if a similar scenario is occurring here? What if the Scarlet Rot is in a similar position? I genuinely think I found the inspiration behind this. There's a disease in our world called Alzheimer's, and while it's not 100% like the Scarlet Rot, it does share some heavy resemblance. Like the Scarlet Rot, Alzheimer works quite slowly. It starts off slow. You become forgetful as your mind deteriorates. Then their movement declines, like in Elden Ring, becoming more confused when they can't do the most basic of things and lose the ability to react to their environment, sometimes even resulting in their death. The Scarlet Rot shares so many similarities, from the slowness of it to the hollow emptiness that is present in people like Radhn and the common folk whose condition has progressed severely. And while I acknowledge there is a lot of holes in this theory, I do think there is a high chance that this was the inspiration for the Scarlet Rot. And I absolutely do love stuff like this, because like the cordyceps in The Last of Us, it adds so much depth to the game knowing something like that is actually in real life.
Be no victor. And so...
Another similarity I've seen would be how the people from the lands between react to outsiders from beyond the fog. The only sort of info we get is from the outsiders themselves. It seems to me at least that the natives of the lands between cannot leave the lands between and react how our ancestors once did, wondering what was actually out there. If this is actually the case, this implies that before Grace took hold over the lands between, the natives were possibly allowed to travel beyond the fog. If it was even there, maybe Grace caused the fog. It's also important to remember that the city of Farum Azula is located high up in the sky, very, very far away from the mainland, virtually at the border of the fog. It's possibly suggesting this border was there, even before the Erdtree, but that's just a theory. Another connection is also located within the fact that such things as lords, kings, queens, and the very medieval setting from hundreds of years ago in our world is also present in Elden Ring, which I think is really cool, and I'm glad they added it, like they have done in previous From Software games. Sadly everyone, that is the end of the video. I really hope you have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, although a dislike is also really appreciated. As always, the Discord link will be in the description and in the pinned comment, and there should be some of our previous videos popping up on the screen right now. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and yeah, one more thing.
We are kindred, but like two eyes which gaze upon the other. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.